video, I basically wanted to review a bunch of TikTok's most recommended books. As I was starting to get into reading, I would literally just go off of other people's opinions and try to read the books that they liked instead of just choosing for myself, which kind of didn't end up the best. As you watch this video, you'll see that a lot of them I actually did not like, so I guess this is like an unpopular opinions video as well. There were some that I actually really did enjoy, but I'm gonna try to steer away from these type of novels because I'm a person that cringes a lot. Like, if a book starts bringing out little weird things and I'm like, ugh, I'm gonna be trying to just like review some of Book Talk's most recommended books, and I'll give like a little bit of like a summary about each book in case like maybe this is your cup of tea. Like, I don't know. So I want to start it off with a book that's not on a completely horrible note. So I'm going to start off with Normal People by Sally Rooney. Before I read this book, I honestly really didn't know what it was about. I was going through my whole romance phase, so this was super different for me, but ended up by being one of the only ones that I actually liked, so I think it was a sign. But this book is basically about two people, and they're kind of like seemed as polar opposites. So if you look at like school stereotypes, it's like one is more like jockey and the girl is kind of like nerdy type of thing. They try to like deny their love for each other because of really ridiculous reasons. I was like, what the fuck? Like, what is wrong with this? But I kind of loved it for that, even though it like kind of made me angry. It was like, it was good enough to make me angry in that way. I thought it was good. I didn't think it was the best thing I've ever read, but I definitely thought it was interesting because it wasn't like a normal, I don't know, enemies to lovers. Like, it was very different. This couple kind of like separates and always reunites. I watched someone's videos and I don't remember who, but they were like explaining it as if they were like kind of magnets. Even though they would separate, they would always be like drawn back to each other, which I thought was so true. I also enjoyed the fact that it was extremely beautifully written in my opinion, but I would say definitely read the warnings before you read this book if you're sensitive to topics like that, if you don't feel comfortable reading stuff like that. So the next book I want to talk about is Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. So mind you, I read these books a long time ago. I wanted to film this video because I knew that I wasn't going to remember, but I'm trying to bring pieces back together. This book follows two main characters. It's a very like brother's best friend novel, but both of them don't want a relationship. Miles had tragic experiences in the past, which is the reason why he doesn't want, and even though obviously at one point a relationship starts to happen between them, he kind of keeps pushing it away. On the back of the book, it actually says, hearts get infiltrated, promises get broken, rules get shattered, and love gets ugly. So I think that's honestly a perfect representation of what this book is all about. I think the thing, and I've only ever read one Colleen Hoover book, and this is it. I've seen a lot of TikTok videos, and when you find out like the significance of her covers and stuff like that, I think that was honestly the best part about reading this book, was understanding like the symbolic parts that she like puts. When I first started reading this book, I was like, I'm gonna give this 5 stars, like I'm so excited, I'm so happy. And then I talked about it with a friend. When they start saying negative stuff about a book, sometimes I'm like, oh my god, like they're kind of right. And that's why I didn't rate this book as good. I don't know, someone else's opinions kind of got in my head. Even at the end of the day, I didn't feel very attached to it. I kind of was like, oh, it wasn't my favorite thing ever. I was kind of disappointed. I'll try to read other Colleen Hoover books. Yeah, that's my opinion on this. Now I feel like this one is super unpopular, but I kind of want to get 2 books out of the way because I really despised one of them. Oh, maybe, no, I'm never going to reread it, but maybe I have a misunderstanding. Maybe I just didn't understand well enough, but it's The Kiss Quotient and The Heart Principle. The Kiss Quotient was okay, definitely like a little iffy, was on the verge of being like, oh, no. I feel like the ending was the reason why I don't hate it, because it left me off on like a not horrible note. But The Heart Principle, I really did not care. This book, it really did not do it for me. But let's start off with The Kiss Quotient. This book follows the main character Stella. She's autistic and she is like shown to have a lot of difficulties in the dating department. So since she's loaded, she literally decides to hire an escort to be like her boyfriend. That already kind of like no, I only read this book to get to this one. So she's like a little awkward. I even read some reviews about this book, and a lot of people were very angry about the representation because they felt like it was not well constructed. Even though I didn't necessarily love the storyline, I think that there was like also a good amount of quotes from the novel. It's fine, just like not really my style. Like, I don't think the book was bad, it was just not really for me. If I jump into The Heart Principle, this is when I really don't understand the hype. I remember reading this book and being like, oh my god, just get through it, just finish it. This book probably put me into like a reading slump because honestly I was expecting something so much different. It starts about this girl, her name is Anna, and she has a boyfriend. Boyfriend's low-key a jerk and basically wanted an open relationship, but because he knew that she wouldn't get with anyone, and so like he can just go with, I literally was like, what the hell? She's like, okay, so she goes on a dating app. No hate with dating apps. I really don't like it. Basically, the fact that like she wanted to meet someone on a dating app, I was already like, oh my god, that was already, again, another red flag. I was like, I'm not gonna like this book. It was really like lovey-dovey, which is not really for me. Since we just went through the ones where they low-key almost sent me into like a heart attack, I'm gonna go with People We Meet on Vacation. And People We Meet on Vacation I really didn't want to read because I am pretty sure I finished the other two first, and I was really getting disappointed with TikTok recommended books. Like, I was like, you book talkers are lying to me. You're telling me that these books are amazing, and I keep reading them and like I'm giving them like 1 star. But this one hit the nail on the head. I really do love this book. I think I rated it like 4.5 stars, something like that. I thought it was really cute. In this book, it follows 2 people, Poppy and Alex, and they're completely polar opposites from each other. Like, Poppy is super extroverted, out there, energetic, and Alex is very like introverted and quiet and likes to read and stuff like that. Every single year they go on a vacation together, but something happens and like we don't know why, like they're not friends anymore. I'm pretty sure they try to organize a last vacation together to figure things out. You see both point of views. It's kind of like a flashback. It's going to like past and present constantly, and we're kind of on a journey until the end to figure out why they're not friends anymore and what was this big shocking moment. I honestly really like this book. I thought that the writing was really good as well. There's only one part where I was like very disappointed. It's so cute, like friends to enemies to lovers, or like friends to enemies to friends to lovers, or something like that. I was very pleasantly surprised. The next book I want to talk about is The Unhoneymooners. So this book follows the main character, Olive, and her sister is like presumed to be very lucky. She's getting married. Something happens where a honeymoon becomes open for Olive to go to. She ends up by obviously wanting to go, but there's a catch. A guy that she really does not get along with is going to be going with her. The 2 main characters, Olive and Ethan, now they have to go on this honeymoon together. You know the drill. Basically, enemies to lovers. It's fake dating. It has grumpy sunshine. I finished it hating every single character. A lot of people seem to like it. That's why I'm like, I don't understand. I was very much like, I don't like any of you. The next one is Red, White, and Royal Blue. I feel like I read this an eternity ago. So it follows 2 children of like very separate families, Alex and Henry. So Alex is the son of President of the United States, and Henry is a part of the royal family. It's a type of enemies to lovers romance, obviously like LGBTQ romance. I was really wanting to love this book. It ended up by not really doing it for me, but I didn't hate it at all. I did really like some parts. That's why I was like so sad, because some parts were so good, but other parts I was like, I know. When the 2 characters get a bit too lovey, I'm like, this was enemies to lovers for a reason. There's a lot of complications, and there's some parts that I really do love, and that's why it bothers me so much that like some other parts were like knocked it down. The next book is The Soulmate Equation. This book is about the main character, Jess. And in this world, there's a new app that's developing, and it's basically supposed to tell you who your soulmate is, like genetically. They give you matches and like percentages of how much you should be connecting with this person. She's not interested in dating. She doesn't even want to try this stupid app. She's like, no, like what is that? Like somehow she ends up by trying it, and she ends up by matching with this guy that she really just can't stand. The tropes involved in this book are enemies to lovers, fake dating. So this book was another one that I didn't love. Like, it was just very surface level. Like, I want to feel something when I read a book. Like, I want to be like, oh, I'm connected to the character, I'm connected to this world, and I just didn't feel that when I read this. So for the last book of this video, I want to end on a not horrible note. I left a pretty chill one for last. It's The Love Hypothesis. This book I actually really enjoyed. It was cute and got me out of a reading slump. Follows the main character, Olive, and she really values her job. She's a scientist, you know, she's kind of nerdy and not really valuing relationships. Like, she doesn't really care. She cares about her job more. But her best friend cares about relationships and her dating life. Something happens where she told a white lie to one of her friends. Olive panics, and she kind of convinces her friend that she is dating someone. I'm trying to make this the least spoiler type of video ever, but also give you an idea what the book is about. Obviously, relationships bro. Let me just go into the tropes because I feel like that's so much easier. Kind of enemies to lovers, like not enemies, but like resentful people to lovers. There's fake dating. There's not a twist, but like kind of like, oh, I honestly thought it was like cute and just something that's so easy to read. And I'd probably read it again, honestly. This is going to be the end of my video. These are all of my books that I just told you about. I think there's 9. Honestly, I would love to know your thoughts on these books. I didn't like a lot of them. Is there something wrong with me? Do you feel the same way? How are we feeling? But now I've been reading a bunch of different types of books, so I feel like getting into all of these helped me find the genre that resonates with me most. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Definitely subscribe. Love you guys.